is the United States morphing into an Israel/old South Africa style religious ethno state. We're also seeing the regime push to eradicate any resistance to the literal obliteration of Palestinians' existence in their homeland, not to mention our rights to have any say about it. Which brings me to Marco Rubio, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the guy with no soul. It's just evaporated from his body. He's now denying visas to the Palestinian delegation to come to the United Nations in New York. And his explanation for this unprecedented denial of the literal heads of the Palestinian entity to come to this country. Here's his explanation for the New York Times. Rubio is denying their visas, saying that the Palestinian Authority, which governs the Israeli-occupied West Bank, must end its appeals to legal institutions, including the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice, and stop pushing countries to recognize a, quote, conjectural Palestinian state. The action by Mr. Rubio raises doubts about whether Mahmoud Abbas, who's the leader of the Palestinian Authority and the PLO, will be able to attend the General Assembly in September, an annual conclave where world leaders discuss the most pressing global issues from wars to famines to environmental clashes. Mr. Abbas has called for the establishment of a Palestinian state and denounced Israel's decades-old military occupation in past speeches at the UN. So there you go. He now cannot come, he and his delegation can't come to the UN unless they renounce their actual claims before the ICC and the ICJ and stop talking about a Palestinian state altogether. Completely, can you imagine them doing that to Ukrainians? I can't either. So now it's not just Project Esther, which we've talked about on the show, and which is a push to end all campus and any other protests against the Israeli government, basically making such protests illegal, defunding colleges on the basis of this new revised definition of anti-Semitism that basically says protesting against any action by the Israeli government or by Israeli settlers is definitional anti-Semitism, even though this is a state taking these actions. But according to the US government, it's illegal to protest that. And meanwhile, denying Palestinian officials the right to even be at the UN if they dare to demand a state. That, in addition to arming the physical obliteration of these people, as they literally are being starved to death and bombed to death, so Israeli settlers can take all the rest of their land, and Trump and his friends and his family can build a massive resort on the dead bones of Gaza. With all of that, Palestinian people are actually refusing to be silent, and they're refusing to be silenced in that country or this one, including one very dynamic young woman who has written a really great one-woman show that tells her own story and speaks her own truth. Take a look at this.
So many different Palestinians, everyone with its own perspective and where they come from. And for me, I'm just writing my personal story and my perspective. Home is something that most people, I think, take for granted. If we're talking specifically about people like us, Palestinian Israelis, home is taken away from you even if you want to claim it.
You must be Arab Israeli then. You know what we call you? Traitors.
You're reminded every time that you're not one of us. You're a second-class citizen.
I'm not Israeli. The Israelis keep making that very clear. I can't work at their restaurants. I can't fly out of their airports without being harassed. Go home!
Will someone please tell me where home is for people like me?
The play is called Home, a Palestinian woman's pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. And joining me now is the writer and star of this really incredible play, which I've had the pleasure and privilege of being able to see, is Hend Ayoub. Hello, Hend.
Hi, Joey. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am well. First of all, congratulations. I got a chance to see your play. I believe it was in its sort of earlier phases, early stages, but it's now fully formed and is on tour. Tell me where the play is going to be seen next.
59E59 Theater. For tickets, 59e59.org. It's in New York City on 59th Street between Park Avenue and Madison Avenue.
Well, I'm excited about it. I saw it in DC. And you know, the story is so heartbreaking. And I think for a lot of people is unknown. I think that so many Americans don't really know much about the Palestinian people other than the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza. Most people don't even know what's happening in the occupied West Bank. So tell me your story, of your family and where you come from.
So I am a Palestinian who was born and raised in Israel. And like you said, most people don't know, they just have a general idea about Palestinians. This is a very specific perspective of someone who was born and raised inside Israel. I am a citizen, an Israeli citizen. And what's it like to be, you know, to be living in a place where doesn't want you and you're trying to belong and you really belong nowhere. I think it's a perspective that is not heard in the States. Most people that I meet here in America, they just know in general, Palestinians, oh, we hear about you in the news, like this statistics or horrible things that are happening over there. Nothing, and especially in Gaza and the West Bank, right? Most people don't know that 20% of the Israeli population are actually Palestinians who were born and raised there and born there and before Israel even existed.
Right. I mean, Israel came to the Palestinians, not the other way around, right? And it's similar to the way I think that people don't realize that if you are Mexican American in California, America came to where you lived. You didn't come to there, right? And so they just assume all the Mexicans, came here, but no, they were already there, And Israel is a very similar thing. There were already Palestinian people there. How far back does your family go? How far back do you trace your lineage?
We were always there, like all my ancestors, my grandmother, my great grandmother, like everyone was there, like most Palestinians who were, born there, and most Palestinians that I know. But this story is a very personal story. It's not written to lecture you or tell you what to think. It's just me, Hend, sharing my personal story, born in Haifa, and what it was like. And it's a very funny story. I know when you hear Palestinian, you think it's going to be very depressing and you don't want to go see it. But no, come to 59E59 because it has a lot of heart and humor. And people are very surprised when they leave the show. And
when you happen, your fiance happens to be a very dear friend of mine, Dean Ovidala, and he invited me to come to the show, and I didn't know what to expect. And I will let you all know it is hilarious. Like, you will actually laugh, you will cry too, but you will laugh. It is funny. And why did you choose to make it comedic? Because you really could have gone the other way and made it really serious, but you decided to throw some comedy in. Why?
I think people need humor in their lives. Life is too depressing as is. That's one. That's for me. I'm always looking for something to feel better about my life.
Yeah.
And it's also, it opens hearts and minds. When you're laughing, you're not judging, and you don't have that immediate, no, I don't like Palestinians, or I don't agree with this, or I don't agree with that. You are more accepting and can listen and hear the story. And
well, Dean wrote a piece for his Substack, which you all should be following at Dean Obadallah's Substack, and I believe it's at deanobadallah.com. There it is. And it's about the erasure of Palestinians. There is this sort of theory, and you see a lot of Christian Zionists say, oh, there's no such thing as a Palestinian. They're just Arabs who came and invaded Israel. They're not really from there. And they just don't believe that Palestinians existed ever at all. And what you're seeing is even in the reaction to your show, particularly from the sort of Christian Zionist crowd who are really angry, or even just the regular Zionist crowd who are really angry that you're doing this show at all. And this idea that you shouldn't be allowed to speak. As an artist, how do you respond to that? Because there are things in this play that are truths that make people uncomfortable. The fact that Palestinians can't be an airline pilot, it comes out in this play. You talk about the places that Palestinians are essentially not allowed to go. It feels like Jim Crow. And I think the fact that you include those truths has made people mad. How do you react to that?
I just want to mention that this is a personal story, and the things that are mentioned there were right for that specific time of Hend's life. You meet me at age 5 until today. So everything is accurate when it was happening there. You mentioned two things. People don't want, there were no Palestinians. I'm not there to argue with that. Like, I was there. My grandmother was there. If you don't want to call us Palestinians, fine. Call us whatever you want. My grandmother had the deeds, and she was trying to get her land back and going from lawyer to lawyer. So that's about Palestinian. I don't care what they really call us, as long as you acknowledge that our story. And those people who attack, they're attacking not me and my show. They're just attacking the idea. They never saw this show, and I think they might change their mind if they are willing to hear another perspective and another narrative, and they just want to silence the Palestinian narrative. And I don't know why they're threatened by that. Why don't we? Because I grew up in Israel, and all you learn is the Jewish Israeli narrative. So I know that. We all know that. Can you hear also mine so we can have a dialogue and get somewhere with this mess that we're in? But anyway, I didn't write this story. It's not political. I didn't write it with an agenda. I was truly trying to tell my true story and share my family, and it's entertaining, and it's not there to lecture or to tell you what to think, and not to fight with those who hate and want to silence us.
Has anyone come to the a showcase for the show and come up to you afterwards and said, you know what, I learned something, I changed my mind?
We just had a run in San Francisco. We just closed in August, like a few weeks ago, and we had really great reviews and sold out runs. And someone who was actually arguing with me, like in the talk back, and said exactly what you said. Well, they weren't Palestinians, they were Arabs and whatever. And I said, well, but you heard the story of my grandmother. I mean, she had the deed. You don't have to call her Palestinian and all that. And he said how much he enjoyed the show. And then his son came to me and he said, thank you for telling this story. Like, you might not realize this, but you just moved the needle a little. So
Yeah.
it is changing something in some people, because you can't argue with someone's personal story and what really happens to them.
And I think that's why you don't really see a lot of, I mean, I think the only, Palestinian journalists a lot of people have seen is Ayman Mohyeldin, in throughout my, career in journalism. He's one of the few who's ever gotten to be on TV. Dean is, a prominent Palestinian American. There's not that many, DJ Khaled, but I don't even know if DJ Khaled is really trying to rock with y'all right this moment. But Khaled is his actual name. He may be mad at me for saying that. Yeah. I mean, but people think they've never even met a Palestinian. You know what I mean? So they think that they can write you all off. But have you experienced? You're young, but have you felt and experienced this change? Because there has been a change. It's in my lifetime for sure. I've never seen more empathy among more people, even if they have no ties to the region, to the Palestinian people. Have you felt that?
The change in the way people...
Yeah, more empathy. The fact that people, for the first time in my lifetime, actually are seeing Palestinians and empathizing with Palestinians.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It wasn't there before. It's sad that we have to lose thousands and thousands of lives in Gaza and see horrific images to make people see what's happening. But yeah, I've seen that.
I'm going to let you promote your show one more time, but before we go, I do want to ask, your family who are back in Palestine, because I don't care what people want to say. There is a Palestine and there are Palestinians. It is just the truth. How is your family?
My family is still there, so I'm the only one who left. It's very challenging. It's very challenging to be Palestinian in Gaza, for sure. I'm not talking about the horrific things that are happening there, but inside Israel, we live with Jewish Israelis, and it's not comfortable. So when I go to visit and when my family calls, it's not comfortable, and things have changed. Even liberal Jewish Israelis who, I wouldn't say loved us, but accepted us and were for us, some of them changed their mind after October 7th and just don't want us there, as if we had anything to do with it. Yeah. And the hate that you see in the comments and the feedback of articles and online, it's just sad, because we live together. You have to go in the street and lower your voice and whisper your language because you are not comfortable speaking Arabic because they look at you in certain ways. And yeah, some my brothers are looking into leaving the country. There are a lot of people, I should say, Jewish Israelis and Arab Israelis who are now leaving the country. It's difficult times.
It is very difficult times, but I appreciate the fact that you are trying to give people a moment to smile, to laugh, and to learn. That is what I did when I went to the show. It is so good. I hope that people will support it. The show is called Home, A Palestinian Woman's Pursuit of Life, Liberty, and Happiness. We're going to put the link below so that you guys can go ahead and get tickets. It's at 59 East 59 Theaters, which makes it easy because it's literally on 59 East 59. You see how they did that? They made it real simple for y'all. Hend, Ayoub, thank you so much. I so appreciate you.
Thank you.
And congratulations, by the way. Congratulations. It's a fabulous play.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, that's it, y'all. You need to get out there and see it. If you're in New York, the play is it's taking a tour. So I think after this, it may go other places. But you want to get your tickets now for this one. If you're in the New York area, we're going to put the link below so you can support Hend. She's a great person. And you listen, anybody that's hanging with Dean Obeidallah is a friend of mine and a friend of this show. Well, thank you all very much for tuning into that. And before we go, I want to share something that we've been wanting to roll out on this podcast. Big up to Cameron Nelson, who is the booster behind making this happen. We call it a moment of joy. Now, last week was Labor Day. And on Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn, that means there's a whole parade and a whole party. And I want to show you guys for this moment of joy, the Democratic nominee for New York Mayor, Zohran Mamdani, who you know from watching this show and this podcast is a rapper back in the day. Here he is taking part in the parade. Here it is. Take a look.
Pigs, he can wine. Zohran, he can wine. Fox, he can wine. New York one, he can wine. Come on, come on, come on. NBC, he can wine. Fox News, and your mother Scott. Fox News, and your mother Scott. There you go. 1, 2, 3. So everybody say, who are we? Everybody say, who are we? Everybody say, who?
Jump back and wine, jump and wine, jump and wine. And they were saying WFP, that's the Working Families Party, which has also endorsed Mamdani for mayor. That is pretty gross. That's a good moment of joy. Jason, do you like the moment of joy? Do you endorse? I don't know if Jason's going to endorse it, but I endorse it.
I endorse it.
You endorse it. Okay, Jason has also endorsed the moment of joy. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Jump up and whine while you're doing it. Jump, whine, and hit like and subscribe. Do it all at the same time. Big up to everybody listening on Substack and on YouTube and on Spotify. Special love to our Team TJRS members. We appreciate y'all. We got lots more stuff coming. By the way, I'm very excited to say we are working on our merch. We're going to definitely have the merch out way in time for you guys to be able to order some stuff for the holidays, because you know Christmas starts in August and it's September. So we're getting that all together. We've got so much more and so many more good things coming, but we just appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you for tuning in wherever you're tuning in. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We appreciate y'all, and we will see you on the next The Joy Reid Show. Goodbye. Thank y'all for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this this channel. Make sure that everybody subscribes to the YouTube channel. 70% of people are lurking, watching these shows and not subscribing. Why would you do that? So make sure that you like, subscribe, and throw some comments in. Thank you all for joining The Joy Reid Show. See you on the next one, and goodbye for now.